Hope you had a great weekend, folks. I'm Bobby Broyles along with Rob Washburn as we continue our 12 teams in 12 days series with Villanova. The Wildcats unofficially received the All-CA Injured Reserve Awards last season, Rob. So many key guys at important skill positions went down so fast for this team, especially on offense. Good news is they're all back and ready to go.
Yeah, as we talked about last Friday with Towson, injuries are an unfortunate reality of the game, but what Villanova suffered through in head coach Mark Ferrante's first year at the helm was unbelievable. By midseason, the Wildcats had lost starting quarterback Zach Bednarczyk, running back Matt Gutzak, tight end Ryan Bell, and wide receiver Changa Hodge on offense, as well as All-America free safety Rob Roll on defense. Villanova was 5-2 and ranked number 11 in the nation in mid-October before the lack of experience and depth finally took its toll and resulted in a 4-game losing streak. The good news, as you noted, though, is that all of those guys are healthy and back on the field. Villanova is ranked in all of the preseason top 25 polls, and there is an expectation that the Wildcats will be back in contention for a berth in the FCS playoffs come November.
With many of their top skill position players out, Villanova really struggled to move the ball during the second half of the season. With 9 starters back, should the Villanova offense return to form this season?
Yeah, as they say, the numbers don't lie. Yeah. Villanova averaged nearly 30 points in the first 6 games last season, but just 11 points per contest during the final 5. The return to that high-powered attack starts at quarterback with 3-year starter Zach Bednarczyk back at the controls. He was completing better than 70% of his passes for over 1,000 yards with 6 touchdowns and no interceptions before suffering a season-ending injury at Towson. He's a smart veteran presence who can make plays with his arm and legs. He has his favorite target back in senior tight end Ryan Bell, who caught 3 TD passes in 4 games before his season ended with an injury, and plenty of speed on the outside with Changa Hodge and Jarrett McClendon. At running back, Aaron Forbes picked up a team-high 568 yards last season despite being the focus of opposing defenses. Having Matt Gutzak back gives Villanova a strong 1-2 punch at the position. 4 of the 5 starters return on the Villanova offensive line, led by preseason All-American Ethan Greenidge at left tackle.
Caught up with Villanova head coach Mark Ferrante on the impact he is hoping these guys returning will have on the offense.
Well, hopefully that'll, help us put more points on the board. Ryan Bell was our leading receiver the year before. He's having a great year into the Albany game. He went down. Matt Gutzak, one of our top 2 running backs, as you mentioned. And then obviously whenever you lose your starting quarterback who's going into his 3rd year as a starter and have to fill in with a freshman or a redshirt freshman, that always makes it tough. So we need to generate more points, and with Zach and Matt and Ryan Bell coming back, that should be huge. And then on the defensive side of the ball, that's where we're hit hardest with graduation. If Rob didn't get hurt and wasn't able to come back, we would have lost through graduation 4 of our starting 5 defensive backs. But with Rob coming back, he'll be able to orchestrate things and organize things in the back end. Julian Williams is a returner as well. And then Jaquan Amos, one of our freshmen who played a lot last year, is almost like having another returning starter. So, we do need to fill a few voids back there. Lost linebacker Ed Shockley, but we have a good solid linebacker core back. And again, with all the young guys getting the experience, we have depth at that position as well. So we need to put more points on the board. That's our defense played really well last year. For the most of the season, I think we only averaged giving up 16 points a game, and we're number 1 in the league against the run. So if we can come close to duplicating that, and then with the skilled players back on offense to hopefully generate more points on that end, it's looking pretty good.
Defensively, this team was very stout last season, but the injury bug hit them as well, as Rob Roll was lost early in the year, and we know the impact he can have, Rob, as he was the CA preseason defensive player of the year last season.
Yeah, with all the struggles offensively, the Villanova defense did a sensational job keeping the Wildcats in games last season. Villanova ranked 4th in the nation against the run and was 9th in scoring defense, giving up only 16 points per game. The entire starting defensive line is back with Malik Fisher and Javonta Johnson at the ends and Brian White at tackle. All-CA standout Ed Shockley is gone at linebacker, but senior Jeff Steve is coming off an excellent year in which he recorded 90 tackles and 5 sacks, and Drew Wiley added 50 stops. Now, 3 starters have to be replaced in the secondary, but that unit gets a huge boost with the return of safety Rob Roll, who led all of FCS with 7 interceptions in 2016 and is a preseason All-American. Having him back in the lineup will make the whole unit stronger. Jaquan Amos played all 11 games at cornerback as a freshman last season and came up with 42 tackles and 2 interceptions.
Here is Coach Ferrante on how important Rob Roll is to this defense.
Rob obviously knows how to play the position. He has real good head on his shoulders. He's a tall, rangy athlete, so he can cover a lot of ground, and he's very athletic. He's got great ball skills, so it allows him to, intercept the ball when it's thrown. Sometimes defensive backs are right there and they miss the catch, but Rob's going to catch it more than he's going to not catch it. But he's just got a great head on his shoulders. He's experienced, he's seasoned, he can play multiple positions, and he's the leader back there. And when you're playing a defense which has 5 defensive backs, that's pretty important to have a guy back there that can kind of be the quarterback on the defensive side of the ball.
Despite all the injuries, Coach Ferrante and the Wildcats were able to finish 5-6 last year, ending with a win over their rival Delaware. That has to carry some momentum with these guys as they head into camp, knowing all of these important pieces are back.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, Villanova was on track for another playoff run before the rash of injuries, and the season-ending win over rival Delaware certainly made the offseason a little better. Now, assuming everyone's healthy, the Wildcats' offense has the weapons and experience to be as explosive as any team in the conference. Villanova's defense has been one of the best in FCS for the past few years, and there shouldn't be much of a drop-off in 2018 with 7 starters back. Now, the schedule sets up pretty well with 7 games in the state of Pennsylvania, and the top 2 teams in the preseason poll, James Madison and New Hampshire, are both visiting Wildcat Stadium in October.
Villanova opens up the 2018 season against city rival Temple on Saturday afternoon at 12 noon on ESPN News and the Watch ESPN app.
Yeah, we got to spend some time with a couple of student athletes from Villanova during Media Day. Check out their interviews now on our multiple social media platforms and cafootball.com.
We are down to our last team in our 12 Teams in 12 Days series on Tuesday as we preview the William & Mary Tribe. Have a great start to your week.